Greetings, community. It's Kevin of Entropy and Comics, and welcome to another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day, 11/13/2024. And here we are once again, and here we are once more. And to those of you that decided to cruise on Rewind, I'd like to take a moment and thank you. I greatly appreciate you taking the time out to cruise on in and check out what I have to say. It's basically a review about what's about to come out tomorrow for a New Comic Book Day. Those of which that decide they want to hang out with me on the live, well, let's go ahead and take that moment and say hi. Dude, Las Cruces, I appreciate you as always being here. The many years in which that I've been online, you've always been here. And God, the now well over a year that I've been doing the show, I think 2 now, you've pretty much on the regular been hanging out with me, and I greatly appreciate you, dude. Seriously. I hope all is well. And to the fandom that was hanging out in the background, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me too, and I do you also. And as I may mention before, to those that catch me on the rewind, thank you very much. I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you like what you see, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? And if you, again, really like what you see, well, just hit that little like thing. Appreciate that too. Starting off with Marvel, we're going to talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue number 61. The reason why is we have Joe Kelly writing and we have the art from Ed McGuinness. This is a whole new era that we're going to be experiencing with Spider-Man in the sense of new writing, and the now 60 issues that were done by Zeb Wells is complete, and it was a setup for what we're going to be receiving starting with issue number 61 with the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. This is, I guess, like a little mini series, but really, from my understanding, is a setup that's going to be happening for some issues to come. Joe Kelly and himself is only going to be here to set up this writing, which we're going to receive another writer after this. I am anxious to see what she does, but we'll talk about that when we get there down the road. Hey, Christina, I appreciate you hanging out with me and dancing all night long. Jag, dude, hope you are well. Thank you for hanging out with me. So, again, Amazing Spider-Man coming out to you. And again, it's issue number 61 on 11/13/2024. Now, I did check the art. I really like it. The writing's really cool in the sense of how the storyline is laid out and everything. I didn't read it in the sense of every word to understand what's going on in the story because I'm a couple of issues behind and I didn't really want to ruin the ending before, you know what I mean. So again, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 61 coming out to you tomorrow. And you already know what it is, 11/13/2024. What? I guess the dog probably had to go outside. All right, next on a Spider-Man type related storyline, we're going to talk about Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 9. I just read issue number 8 the night before last, and I am still enjoying the series. We got an appearance of a character called Nave here today, gone tomorrow. It was an interesting storyline, interesting character, and it did ramp up and finalize what was kind of going on in the past 3 issues of the Spectacular Spider-Man on the leading up and then the resolve, let's put it that way, of issue number 8. I am looking forward to seeing where this goes with issue number 9 and also have been enjoying the storyline thus far. So I am looking forward to this coming out to me, definitely tomorrow on this Wednesday coming up. Moving out from Spectacular Spider-Man, let's talk about Venom issue number 39. This has multiple things for me. 1, it has the Venom War. 2, it has an introduction on what we're seeing with the new character in the sense of who is the all-new Spider-Man. Seriously, who is it? Didn't look, almost did. I almost ruined it for myself, but didn't want to quite see quite yet. So I did, as you always know, when I am doing a little wondering and specking, I end up getting a little bit more than one. So I end up getting 2, as you see, and I am curious, I'm probably going to get more, what's going to end up transpiring with this Venom character. We do know that it isn't Brock. Why? Well, just look at your solicitations coming out for January, February. That's an easy one there. Also, we do know that we end up seeing things that are supposed to transpire and it's coming up in December. So what I'm getting at is we do know it's not Brock. Also, if you end up looking at these solicitations coming up in January, you end up also seeing, well, it's not going to be, well, the mayor. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to ruin that one for you, too. He's going to end up turning into a new character. Iron Fist. Didn't say that out loud. And I'm looking forward to that coming out, too. So it only leaves actually 2 characters that it could be. I kind of already know. So I'm not going to ruin that one, but this is so awesome. I really digging where this Venom War stuff is going. So in the Venom issue 39, almost made my Blue Light special. It was that close, but it didn't quite make it. But moving out from Venom issue 39, let's talk about Venom War Deadpool issue number 3. This has been fun. Out of all the little side ones that we've been getting, to me, this has been probably the one of the more lighthearted in some regards, but again, heavy impacting of the side tie-ins. I don't know, it's unique. I'm not really normally a Deadpool fan. However, every time I read a Deadpool storyline, which tends to be a tie-in, I dig it. I'm not going to start another title. I'm just slowly picking them off right now. So that's the last thing I'm going to do is pick up another one. However, again, Venom War, Deadpool issue number 3, I've been rather enjoying. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about another one, which is Venom War, Wolverine, issue number 3. This one really did this with me. Issue number 1 was really cool. Issue number 2, I was like, wait, what? Why am I not getting a rhythm on this thing? I don't know if it's just because I'm reading so many titles and it just kind of went wee because of my brain, but it just didn't feel right. Towards the last, I think it was 4 to 5 pages, because I just read this the other day, it felt like there was a rhythm kind of picking up again. So I am interested to see how this issue number 3 works out, especially since I recently just read it. Maybe we'll end up having a better feel on the far the rhythm of the storyline is going on. However, also, my point being, it is wrapping up some of the tie-ins that are in the main Venom War storyline, which I'm looking forward to kind of getting back and only kind of just thinking about, putting more in my mind to, in the sense of what's going on, because some pretty significant things are happening between Venom splitting, Carnage influencing, Meridius overall kind of taking a back seat, along with seeing characters such as Kang and others that are definitely playing a significant role, but are also just, again, doing these strategic placements outside of the actual game being played. It's almost kind of like watching a game from the box, you know what I mean? The areas in which that the owners watch it from. It's really, the story's really wild, because the players that are playing the game have no idea that they're getting played. And that's really what's going on in this whole storyline. So after everything is going to end up dust settling, it's going to be a whole new war starting up, in my opinion, probably around mid to late January into February. That's wow. I can't wait. So anyways, again, I'm talking about Venom War Wolverine. Moving out from that, the whole Venom War Deadpool and the Venom stuff in issue number 39 all ties in together, and I just can't wait for it for the dust to settle. Just saying. Moving out from the Marvel stuff, let's go over to Boom Studios, because they got a cool little story that I've been enjoying, which is Garfield issue number 4. Seriously. This is based on the movie stuff, and if you're into Garfield and if you're into what the movie did, it's loosely based on some of the stories in there, and it's fun. The cool thing I'm going to be doing with this is what I tend to do with some of these storylines is after I'm done, I collect them, and then when it comes to Halloween, I give away as a collection. This has been a really enjoyable storyline for me, and I caught myself laughing out loud a couple times. So, hey, look, I'm just saying, I enjoy my all ages, and Boom Studios, you knocked it out of the park with this one with Garfield. Garfield was a fun read, and I'm looking forward to wrapping it up with issue number 4. Let's cruise out from the Boom Studios and cruise over to Mad Cave, and they're going to give us Gotcha Man June Apex Heart, issue number 1. That's a little mouthful. If you've been reading the Gotcha Man stuff, this is a must-have. It's just another little one-shot. I think it's a one-shot that should, again, tie in a little bit more, fill in a couple of the gaps on some of the backstory of the character. What I like about the formatting they've been doing in the styling is it doesn't take away from the main story if that's all you want to do. The beauty is it's also been giving us some of the fillers on the background of the actual characters and their, how should I say, main stake and play in this game that we're going on, if you want to call it such. This war has been transpiring for quite some time, but we're only then getting the backstory of the individuals and how their role is in this war going on and what their significance is and how this works out the beauty is it doesn't oversaturate us on what the main story is going on when they give us these one shots, but it does give us enough as the story's been going on to allow us to develop some type of feel, some care, some understanding of what these individuals are going through in the midst of their own fights and battles on the outside, let alone the internal ones that we see at times when we're reading the story. So again, from Mad Cave, Gotcha Man, June Apex Heart, issue number 1 comes out to you tomorrow, 2024. Whew, breath. All right, moving out from Mad Caves, let's cruise over to Dynamite Studios and give us 2 titles from there, which is first starting off with Johnny Quest, issue number 4. If you're like me and you've been picking up, mostly in the age, you've been picking up these stories mostly out of nostalgia. And then finding, much like in the case what I just read with, they really locked me in on Popeye. I was really trying to drop that. And I'm like, really, Popeye? After I read issue number 2, I'm like, damn, they keep making these stories, in the case of what I'm talking about, Johnny Quest, so good, so relative in today's writing, and so just enjoyable that it's extremely difficult to say I'm going to drop the title because it's been that good to read. So again, Johnny Quest is in no way any different from what I just made mention in correlation to. Johnny Quest has been thoroughly enjoyable as a title, and I just can't seem to drop it. So issue number 4 is coming out to me and to you on 11/13/2024. Moving on from Johnny Quest, and let's talk about Space Ghost issue number 7. This is again the same thing I just got through talking about, but expanding on that has been such a popular read for many of those out there, aside from me, that has never seen this before or is new to Space Ghost. It has been doing so well on the sales that, again, as far as Dynamite is concerned, they reapproached the writer, David Pepose, to solicit him for some more writing. So now we're well past issue 15, to my understanding, and probably as deep as around issue 25, as far as the guaranteed solicitations that we're supposed to receive from Dynamite under the Space Ghost title. Seriously. I'm really thoroughly enjoying the fact that I get to know that a title that I've been enjoying has such a long duration of time already guaranteed. It doesn't make me feel like my devotion to the title is going to be in some type of, for naught, or even in form of peril, because it's already been signed, definitely past 15. So, hey, if you've been enjoying it, much like myself, and you've only finished one arc and we're getting into issue number 7, then you know that we got, all of us, a minimum of 2 more arcs to go. I'm just saying, that's cool. Getting back to the storyline is thus far, really what we're at this point is we end up getting an introduction of a couple of, because of the circumstances, kids that turn out to be orphans, then adopted by Space Ghost, reluctantly, who is the hero of our main storyline. He essentially is just trying to save the universe from an overall impending doom. There are many people that are trying to do many different things, but a good portion of the individuals that we're seeing are in a couple of just factions, and one under one main one that we end up seeing. This invasion that we end up seeing by issue number 5 through end up in 6 ends up getting squashed, but we end up seeing the overall relationship between the characters of the monkey, which is not getting heavy into that because it's a significant part, which I can't remember his name right now, and the 2 kids that are involved along with Space Ghost. They all have significant roles that they're going to end up playing in the saving of our overall galaxy, thus multiple galaxies and impending doom from these factions that are trying to take over. But overall, what we're going to end up seeing is kind of a warm-hearted tale under some extreme circumstances. And hey, I think that's where we're all today, all of us. So it's really been enjoying because David's been doing a fantastic job with the storyline. It's another one of those titles I just can't seem to put down. And every time it comes out, it's just falling short of my most anticipated reads, only because of certain titles, which those going to be like tonight, are also so significant in their own right. So I'm just saying, it's not that it's that bad. It's just that the other titles that are coming out are just way up on the anticipated read for me. Moving out from Space Ghost issue number 7, we're going to talk over at the IDW side, giving us Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutination issue number 2. Read issue number 1 about 4 days ago. Been doing a lot of reading in the past week, and I'm enjoying the fact that this mutant world, as you will, is expanding. And the beauty about it is it's allowing other writers, contributors, the ability to create a larger realm for any writer to come in behind them and be able to take over, and thus express themselves in a way that I think that in before line, when we only had one or two titles, were rather restricted. The expanse of this world is rather immense now. There's now what, 4 different titles coming out from TMNT. I am enjoying them all. It just seems like it's rather inundating in the sense of there's so much that and it's so immersive, and it becomes almost over inundating that it's so difficult to process and be able to maintain as far as what happened. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where it was, because I had to read Mutant Nation issue number 1 twice. So again, these are not small books. They tend to be thicker books, and they tend to be not only enjoyable, but a lot of information. So again, IDW TMNT Mutant Nation issue number 2 coming out to me and you. Moving over to Ahoy Comics, we're going to talk about Toxic Avenger issue number 2. This is not for everyone, and it's a rather ugly type of character. But the beauty about this character is, as ugly as the exterior is, as beautiful as the interior is also. This is one of those characters that is not only trying to give you a neat little storyline through shock, I guess, to be able to get you to just check it out, but it tends to also allow you to open your mind to understand that sometimes, more times than not, they're trying to touch bases on other aspects of society and things like that. Some of the political and the satire stuff that are involved in some of these stories, especially the ones in the past, I really enjoyed. So I'm going to definitely get all the series that have the cards in it, because 1, I'm a sucker for those type of gimmicks, and 2, the back of the of all those things are cool too. So I'm just me, doesn't have to be you, but I'm looking forward to jumping my hands onto that book from Ahoy Comics, Toxic Avenger issue number 2 with card. That's the one I'm getting. I don't know about you. But moving on from Ahoy Comics, we're going to talk about Dark Horse. The reason why they're going to give us a title that I think is just freaking awesome, and it should have been done a long time ago, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Turtles of Grayskull. That's right. TMNT meets He-Man in issue number 2. I read issue number 1, and I'm just loving the fact that Mikey can't get enough of wearing the the Goldilocks hair of He-Man as a wig. Every time he goes into battle, it's just freaking cool. And he tends to be a little more preoccupied by making sure that his hair wig is doing well, and a little bit sidetracked about it and not taking care of his 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 comrades. I caught, here's another one. I caught myself laughing, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I ended up reading that book also twice, not only because I was getting a little bit lost, but because I was laughing and losing my spot, and I had to get done and do other things in the midst that I just thought was really freaking funny. So I'm just totally digging it. So again, Dark Horse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of Grayskull issue number 2 coming out for you on 11/13/2024. All right, now we got 2 more titles coming out from Image Comics, and the first one is Transformers issue number 14. After issue number 13, we got some introduction and some heavy, I don't know, results coming after issue 11 and 12. And this thing is just getting gnarly. I was telling a friend of mine about how this storyline is going along, and he's not following. He doesn't read comics, and here he is going to meet me at a signing event tomorrow to end up getting a G.I. Joe book signed. He just wants to check out some of the storyline because his mind was blown as I was telling him about what was going on with Transformers. I even told him I really thoroughly couldn't even explain really what's going on, but I think I hooked him. So guys, I think we got one more in the community, and it looks like it's going to be pretty awesome because, hey, he's a pretty cool dude. But again, back to the book itself, Transformers, along with Void Rivals, are going to be the only 2 left from all the books I've been receiving so far outside of, well, you guessed it, this week's Blue Light Special is G.I. Joe, issue number 1. And yes, I missed the Turtles of Grayskull. Sorry. But G.I. Joe, issue number 1. So it's a Micah issue. Um, I did flip through it a little bit just to check it out. I wanted to see what the art was like. I didn't quite read it yet. I normally have a rule that I don't read my stuff until I end up logging it in. It looks like those rules are starting to get broken a little bit. I did, like I said, I didn't read it. However, I did flip through it. I did catch myself reading a couple words to see what was going on, how it read, and the rhythm and everything. I'm looking forward to jumping on that thing prior to once that I end up logging it in. I end up gonna throwing it into one of my little boarded bag window board things because I am going to a signing event both tomorrow and Thursday, where there'll also be a CGC witness for Thursday. I'm trying to get myself together now. I know I deviated from the overall goal, which is to tell you what my blue light special is. Swear, I'm getting back. G.I. Joe has been a title that I'm looking forward to for quite some time. I've never been a G.I. Joe fan, never really bought the comic in the past, never really got into the storyline in the past. I used to watch a little bit of the comic books. However, being that I knew that it was tied into what was transpiring into this whole Transformer universe, Energon, I end up delving hard into it, the backstory of some of this stuff only through like your Wikipedia and stuff like that. No, I haven't been buying a bunch of backstories and stuff like that. Now, after some like 2 months of doing all this research just to get a little bit of knowledge and reading Scarlet, reading Duke, reading everything supporting all these storylines, all the tie-ins, everything leading up to this big launch of G.I. Joe coming out to us on 11/13/2024. I am thoroughly excited to not only jump on my little grubby hands on what I just showed you on that book, but I'm thoroughly looking forward to speaking with Joshua on writing the book, his contribution, all the way back into the free comic book day of Energon, everything leading up to this, the anticipation I'm sure he's been, having leading up to this book. I want to know it all. I not only want to read the story, but I want to know the story behind the story. And I'm jumping out of my skin right now. And I don't know if you can tell, but damn, I can't wait to read this book and know more about it. So again, my Blue Light special is G.I. Joe, issue number 1, coming out not only to me, but to you. And that's it for me, Entropy. Everyone stay well. I appreciate you, DJ, BEC, Las Cruces, Jigs, Christina, Jag. And as always, Las Cruces, as I made mention, you guys are awesome. You stay well. And that's it for me, Entropy. Take care.